Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a Rune and Tarot Divination for Thursday, the 16th day of June 2022. Well, we've been outside and there's pollen and I'm all stuffed up today, so apologies for that. My throat is all raspy and everything, so I'll try to get through this without clearing my throat too many times here. But we have a lot of wind here on the high desert, and so it blows things around, and you can't help but. My husband was mowing yesterday, and he woke up this morning all congested from it and everything. So it's just what happens here. But it looks like the weather is starting to get better, and we're not going to have to cover things. We covered things outside. I covered my beans and my tomatoes. It wasn't down to 32, but we have the wind chill here. So if it's windy, it could be 38 and it could go all the way down to whatever. So I don't take chances with certain things. And so, but I think maybe we're done with that. So hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. It's the high desert. We're at 3,000 feet above sea level, so you just never know. It makes gardening a real challenge and not for the faint of heart, really. But anyhow, I'm happy to see everyone today. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. I hope you'll click subscribe and come back. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back again. I truly appreciate it. Appreciate everyone who watches. I hope that you get something out of it. I hope that I'm general enough to just give you some ideas to think about in terms of your life and see, here I go again, and all the things that you're dealing with. But let's go ahead and go over today's esoteric influences from the weekly post over on the blog at Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. And if you scroll down, if you click on show more and scroll down, you'll see a bunch of links, and it's also there if you forget. But anyhow, this goes out on Saturday nights, and among other things that go out on Saturday nights, I schedule them for then. And but for today, with the 16th of the month, 16 reduces to 7, so it gives us a numerology for the day of 7, which is observation, balance, meditation, seeking truth, analysis, justice, magic. The rune today is Sawillo from the Elder Futhark, which means the will. It's the rune of the sun, spirit, energy, self-confidence, healing, higher self, illumination. The Geomancy rune today is Puella, or Puea, means young girl, scattered focus, superficial, ambivalent. It's a positive rune. It's fortunate, but not too fortunate. The sun's in Gemini and the moon's in Capricorn until it shifts to Aquarius at 2:44 in the afternoon here, on the Pacific coast. I can never remember if it's Pacific Daylight Time or Standard Time, but whatever it is. Planetary governance today, if you're working magic, is Jupiter, so expansive magics, and favorability today is very good. So let's do the as above side of things here, and we'll take the Elder Futhark rune. I do the runes first as sort of a significator for the whole reading, so it kind of gives the direction of things. And then sometimes, typically the cards will essentially give the details of all of it, which is fine. But sometimes you get something entirely different. It's rare, but it's like we got to look at the runes from maybe a little bit different, maybe a little more obscure reference. I think we have Fehu on Monday. If we didn't, we had it possibly on Thursday. Fehu means transaction, cattle, wealth, life force. It's ascending rune in magic. You could, for example, say Fehu when you're about to cast your intention, either silently or out loud, and it would then provide the energy to send that or to cast the intention, if you will, to the universe. So what intentions are you going to cast today? Let's take a look at the Geomancy rune for the below side of things. Geomancy is an earth element, earth energy type of a divination system, whether you're talking about geomancy runes or you're talking about pendulums or ley lines. That's all earth based. And so I think it makes a good complement to the Elder Futhark rune, which I view as the language of spirit, basically. So let's see what we have. Oh, it looks like we have Fortuna Major. And how I do this, I throw down the runes and I put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. So this one is fire, and it, you can see the glyph for fire on it. It has a single dot, but what came up was two dots. And so I just put them in order, and then I find them in the bowl here. And so I can show you rather than trying to show you four. Let's see, that's Fortuna Minor, which would be the complement. But this is major. Did I say minor before? I don't think so. I don't know what I said. It's early. I want to watch the hearings today, so I'm starting early. But here we have Fortuna Major, which is greater fortune, which is an interesting rune to pair with Fehu being about wealth that is movable or transactable, or energy, or again, casting the intention for something. So basically, with Fortuna Major being greater fortune and success and all of that, I think we're looking at, and I think it's also, interestingly enough, inner assistance, whereas Fortuna Minor is more progressive type of an experience, or progressive success, baby steps maybe, and that I think you need outer assistance for. But this is about what's coming from inside, and when you pair that with Fehu's other interpretation of life force, there's something about the inner will today that could be successful in some endeavor that you're doing. So let's go ahead and we'll shuffle the cards just a couple more times. I do my shuffling before I get started, but we'll do a little bit more here. But I think that what we're looking at here today is having a higher level of will, not ego-based, right? But given Fehu, again, the soul archetype, like the major arcana, or the higher awareness type of a energy with Fehu, and the Elder Futhark, pairing it with the Geomancy rune, Fortuna Major, then you're really talking about something that is maybe more inclusive of the needs of others, perhaps. Something that has the ability to see the bigger picture in terms of whatever it is you're doing here. So success maybe that benefits other people as well, maybe service to others, as opposed to service to self. But let's just keep this up on the screen just in case. I've been relating this to the esoteric influences for the day, because sometimes I'll either draw one of the same runes or something, or there's just something about all of this that I guess I didn't read the whole thing. I'm sorry. Let me go. I need to take a step back here. I just told you the details for the reading, and then I forgot to do that. Again, I got sidetracked. Pollen, I don't know. But anyway, you prefer a career that allows you the freedom to explore truth from a philosophical perspective. However, to experience that, you may need a different approach, especially with coworkers who may have a different mindset. Remember that although you have plenty of self-confidence, others may be more ambivalent. In truth, you're a sage that conveys inner truth and wisdom with clarity and vision, and your self-awareness inspires others to do the same. But you do have difficulty with others whose thoughts are fragmented, so remain calm and balanced while helping them to see the light today. So again, that could have something to do with the runes I drew, and I'm sorry that I didn't read that. Well, it's early. So one more time here, and then we'll go ahead and throw down the cards. We'll do 3, and then if we need more, we'll take them. But typically we just do 3. If I do take one, it's usually one more to get maybe just a little more details about what we're talking about here. But again, if we're talking about Fehu and Fortuna Major, the success that you have, really, especially if it's collaborative in nature, they're kind of looking to you for the wisdom and the higher clarity to understand what's really going on. Because let's face it, even in a group, even if the group functions pretty well together, you're always going to have people that are maybe going to have a little more hesitance to act or to make a decision or what have you. So Well, okay. This is going to be interesting. We have the Queen of Cups, the Sun, which is the 19th card of the major arcana. Now you're looking with 19, you're looking at one energy. And then we also have the 10 of Swords. So we're looking at, then that's another one energy, which we can then say is, two. We can't really say it's an 11, although it might look like an 11 when you have them written down, but I don't think we're going to do it that way. So balance, reciprocity, decisions. So again, maybe there's some decisions you need to make here regarding your career, regarding interactions with other people, or some such thing that can lead you to a better place. The Sun would suggest some success here, but let's go ahead and take a look at the Queen of Cups. Here we see a queen on her throne. You see cherubs up here. Her beautiful cup here. It has another name, and I can't think of it. It starts with an A, I think. Beautiful crown on her head. The cape that she's wearing literally merges into the rocks below. It kind of has like a river rock pattern to it, and it literally merges into the rocks below. And she's sitting right there at water's edge. Queen is an older woman in authority. She's reflective, she observes, she's loving, she's empathic, she's patient. She may be a healer. She might meddle a little bit. She's only so trustworthy, trouble setting boundaries maybe. But she's very loving, very, very compassionate. That's the thing with the suit of cups. It's the water element, and so with authority figures like the king and queen, there may be a little passive aggression going on there. Probably a little more so with the king than with the queen. But if you've got two sides of the same coin there, passive versus aggressive, you could have some issues there where maybe they don't say what they really think, or they don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or maybe it's the other way. They're just, they don't really care, but they. But I knew a woman one time who was very passive aggressive, and she controlled on the passive side. And if you've ever seen somebody do that, it doesn't make any difference if it's a man or a woman, but if you've ever seen someone control the room, they're likely to, and they do it in a way where they don't have to say much, or what they do say sort of guilts everybody into doing something. That's someone who's passive aggressive, typically. Maybe not, but usually that's what you're kind of looking at, a little bit of passive aggression there. And she was extremely so. And that woman could control the entire room. She could control everybody in it by either saying something or not, or by the choice of words or whatever. It's like everybody just, did what she wanted. And it was really interesting to watch. I found it kind of amusing to watch it, really, because nobody got it. And I'm sitting back there going, this is fascinating. So I was the outlier. I was the one who didn't cooperate. So, I mean, unless I felt it was the right thing, right? But otherwise, no. I see what you're doing. I see the game you're playing. But anyway, that's the Queen of Cups. So it can be both positive and negative here, as with anything. But we're talking about maybe your inner authority and how you express it, how you transact, the fehu of it all. Are you going to transact in a way that's reflecting higher self, or is it going to be in a little bit of a manipulative fashion, to get the success and to get the positive outcome, the successful outcome that you want? Is it going to be through putting the truth on the table, everybody doing that, and everyone coming up with what the right decision is, right? Or are you going to try and sway people in a way that's emotion based, and maybe a little bit manipulative? The Sun, on the other hand, is about happiness and fulfillment, awakening, the light returning, reunion. Here you see the sun expressing all of its rays around. You see the sunflowers behind Slava Ukraini, and then you see the red pennant, the red flag or pennant flowing in the wind. You can see it flowing, so there's a little bit of a breeze going. You see the child on the back of the horse, the white horse. So there's a sense of newness here, and with a one energy, you really are looking at new beginnings here. but it does indicate success. So maybe with a little bit of awakening, you might awaken to the idea that it's one thing to be compassionate and understanding, but it's another thing to be manipulative about it and to use it to your own advantage, you know. But here we have the Ten of Swords. Now this looks like a bad thing, but it's not. It's the tarot. It's like the tower, the lightning coming in and blowing the top off the tower and two people appearing to fall to their death. Well, we don't know they died, you know. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they fell into a bunch of hay and it softened their cushion, their fall. You know, we don't know. And that's all about transformation. Well, here, this really is too. This is truly about going as far as you can go with the perceptions that you have. And it's time to wake up, basically. You see the night is lifting. And again, a one energy, mirroring the one energy of the sun. And so this really is about new beginnings. You see the light returning here, the graduating night giving way to some clouds. Might be a little bit gray, but they're starting to lighten. And yes, there are 10 swords piercing him in the back, but, you know, swords is about the air element, and so it's about our intellect, our mental faculties, and reason, justice, fairness, deception. And so here, it's like, to me, it's the complete end of self-deception. So whatever negativity that might be associated with this card in terms of manipulation, maybe there's the end of that. And you've kind of gone as far as you can go with the perceptions that you have. Now, realistically, we probably could put the sun at the end, so let's read it that way. So let's start again with the Queen. So we have a woman that's older. She's in authority. She's compassionate. She's observant. She's empathetic, or empathic rather. She's so there's a little bit of intuitive sense there about her, psychic sense about her. And then you have the idea that she could possibly be manipulative. Might want to meddle. So, but then some perception creeps in, and it's like, well, maybe we need to rethink things here. It's like you've gone as far as you can go. With the Nine of Swords, you see the person sitting up in the bed, holding their head, and they're waking up from a nightmare. But again, it's the nightmare of perception that's not serving you any longer. And so here, we let go of it. We surrender to it. It's like, okay, I'm done. I've got to start over. Maybe you've been drawn into some ideas or some thought processes or decisions that really you just can't live with. It's really not aligning with who you are. It's really not. Maybe you've been caught up in another group or something, a group experience where it seemed good, but then as time goes on, you make the realization that something's not right with this picture. And so you begin to rethink how you think about things, how you see things, and you begin to experience a shift in perception. And that's realistically what we're letting go of perceptions that no longer serve us with the Ten of Swords here. And then we awaken to truth. And when we do that, you know, we see the sunflowers behind here, behind the wall, the rock wall or whatever type of whatever they use to build the wall. You're looking at vitality and energy and growth, and the ability to start again and come back into some kind of new awakening. That's typically more higher self. When you see the sun, you're really talking about creation energy there. And so I think that maybe we've been maybe we're experiencing in our own self a little bit of passive aggression or a little bit of the inability to really do right by the experience, because emotions get in the way and maybe you don't want to offend or whatever. And so maybe you don't assert yourself when you should and express yourself when you should. But then you begin to realize with the Ten of Swords that hey, you know, this really isn't going to serve the situation very well. And and then conversely, that's before we go on to the sun, let's look at the queen a different way. If there's a woman in authority in your life that's causing a little bit of, it's affecting things in a way that is not getting you to where you need to go, you need to have a different type of interaction with her. That could be part of the fehu of this. You need a different type of interaction. And so you're going to let go of whatever perceptions you had, and you're going to say, well, I need to start over here. And we need to have a different kind of interaction. We need to have a different kind of relationship. So you might be able to look at those two cards in two different ways here. Either internally, the things that you experience yourself, where maybe you're not as assertive as you need to be, or which could be, I mean, even if this is a woman in authority and this isn't talking about you in particular, that could still be going on. So depending on how you see the queen here, how this manifests for you, at some point you realize there's something about this that's just not working anymore. And you've got to let go of how you see things and begin to let the light come back in, which you do with the sun. And awareness comes in, and you begin to understand the truth about things a little bit better. And then when that happens, you see, then your transactions with the individual, for example, your transactions with others, your interactions with other people become better. They become more successful. They're less ego-based. They're less maybe responsive-based. You can stay at one or the other end of the spectrum, but that ultimately isn't going to serve you. You've got to find a little happy medium in between there where you can know when you need to be compassionate, but then when you need to maybe gently assert yourself to the person and say, well, have you thought about this? And, this isn't working for me. And can we do something a little differently here? So there has to be some kind of balance between the two. In a sense, the sun is, of course, reflective of the fire element. Swords is the air element, and cups is the water element. And so you've got this balance with, if we put the 10 of swords in the center, we have this balancing effect between emotions and the expression of will. And with the sun, the expression of will here is higher awareness. It's not ego-based. And so clearly we're going in the direction of that, where it's not ego driving the interactions anymore. And and unfortunately, with the Queen of Cups, there may be a little of that going on. Again, from a passive-aggressive sense. So if you're feeling like maybe you're a little passive-aggressive, I mean, we all are to a certain extent, I mean, we are. We have those moments in our lives when we react that way. But if it's somebody that if you really are, then you've got to, that's kind of a struggle, isn't it? But if you're dealing with someone who is, you may not be able to fix that either. All right. That interaction may not, I mean, this person just is who they are, right? If they're super passive aggressive, like the example I gave of the woman I knew. But again, you have to let go of perceptions here and how you see all of this and try to see it from either a higher perspective or to just move into some kind of experience that's completely new and a little more higher self-based here. In terms of how you deal with this, and maybe you limit, if it's a person that this is talking about for you, maybe you limit the amount of interaction you have with that person because you can't get anywhere. You feel manipulated by it, or you can't get them to, they're wishy-washy, they can't make a decision, or what have you. So let's look here again at the esoteric influences today. The idea that in truth you're a sage that conveys inner truth and wisdom with clarity and vision really is reflective of the sun, isn't it? And you inspire others to do the same. But here's the issue. But you have difficulty with others whose thoughts are fragmented. So remain calm and balanced while helping them to see the light. So again, I think that the readings dovetails with today's esoteric influences. I don't know. It happens sometimes. Lately I usually get rid of it off the screen. I don't pay any attention to it, but I don't know. There one day I left it up and I'm like, huh. So I've just started doing that, and it just seems to, it's kind of fun when it dovetails together like that. It sort of reinforces that there's something here about about your inner wisdom that can help other people and help bring them to a greater awareness of what's going on. You're just going to have some patience about it, maybe, and realize when you've gone as far as you can go with somebody, and you just got to let it go because it's not going to go anywhere anyway. So, anyway. But you got a lot of life force energy with Fehu helping you to cast the intention for better interactions and better transactions with other people that can give a successful outcome with Fortuna Major. So anyhow, that should do it. Thanks for watching, you guys. It's going to be an interesting day here listening to the hearings. We've known about all this stuff, really. I mean, there's some stuff that was new in the last 2 hearings, but it's just fascinating to see how this collective mindset unfolded, and it's shocking to think that could happen here. We think that somehow we're exempt in this country for nefarious acts from people, but we're not. And we saw it before with Nixon. We've seen it with all kinds of things. And so I don't know, it's like we've come full circle and here we are again, and we've got to take a really hard look at things and see if we can't come out of this in a place that's better, and so that if it does happen again or something else happens again in the future that takes us down a really evil path, or people who want to take us down that path, that we can stop immediately and say no and rise up and say no. But to see, all of this manipulation and all the lies and all the conning, and it's just shocking that this could have happened, but it did. And as time goes on, we're going to find out a whole lot more. So anyhow, that's what I'm going to be doing at 10 o'clock today, is watching that, and 1 o'clock, I guess, on the East Coast. But so maybe we'll be sharing that space together as well. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and have a good weekend. And we'll talk again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.